Good morning, high school. It is May 15th. We're only 2 weeks away from the end of this very, very weird school year. And today I am actually in empty halls. I'm in my office today, which is weird because this is the first time I've been in my office in about 2 months. I've just spent the last 2 days trying to get a handle on how next school year is going to start and what that's going to look like. And there are so many unknowns that go into that still. And that is a weird feeling because I don't have a good handle on how this current school year is going to end at this point. I walked around the halls today while I was up here, and in some ways it feels just like any regular weekend. There are things still on the benches. There are shoes still on top of the lockers. There are things that students left out, expecting to return the next day and pick them up. Lunch Tupperwares under the benches in the freshman hallway. So it seems, at a quick glance, like everyone just left yesterday and they all expect to be back tomorrow. And if you just walked around quickly, you'd get a feeling that, oh yeah, it's just on pause for the weekend. And in a few days, everything will return to normal. But we know that's not the case. And these halls have been empty for 2 months at this point. It was almost exactly 2 months ago that classes got called off before March break. We all expected to return to class the next day and were told on almost no notice that we wouldn't be coming back before break. And then during break, we found out we wouldn't be coming back for 2 weeks. And then during that time, we found out we wouldn't be coming back for the rest of the school year. And so while in one sense, it does feel like it's just the weekend and people are going to pick up in a day or two and life will return to normal, in another sense, it kind of feels like a ghost town up here. Things that are normally full are empty. Things that are normally happening are not happening. Refrigerators are completely empty. Trash cans are empty because no one's around to make trash. Things are dirty. There's dust on the roads because cars haven't driven up here in 2 months. The senior hallway, in particular, is surprisingly clean. There are no hoodies, no textbooks, no water bottles left out, like there almost always are, even over breaks. This time in quarantine has had me thinking a lot about exile, about the concept of being in a place that's not your home and wanting to get home and not knowing how long it's going to be until you can get home, not knowing how long you're going to be away from the place that you want to be. It happens a lot to God's people in the Bible, over and over again. Israel, while they're away in Egypt, and then again they're in the desert, and not knowing how long they would be in the desert. When they were taken into captivity, and not knowing how long they would be in captivity, and if they'd ever see their homes again. We live in a place where we're always looking for something that we don't have, always longing to be a place that we can't be. Right now, that might be these hallways, that many of you are longing to be here, to be with friends, to be in your classes, to be in this community again. I feel that way too. For 2 months, I was away from this school, away from these halls, away from this space that has meant so much to me for the past 20 years. And like the Israelites, we don't actually know how long we will be in exile. We don't know how long it will be until we can return to the place that we want to be. If you read the story of God's people, some of their most profound encounters with Him happened during exile. When you're comfortable, when you're in the place that you want to be, when you're home and safe and secure, you don't realize that you need anything else. And you can sometimes forget that you need God, that you need intimacy with Him, that you need His provision in your life. When you're in exile, when you're away from the place that you want to be, it's much easier to realize how much you need God's provision in your life, how much you need God's guidance and direction. It's the times when we don't have all that we need or all that we want that we're drawn to think more and to consider more God's role in our lives and God's place in our lives. I am really hoping that in August these halls are full again, that we'll be back, school will be back in session, that we'll be able to gather again and learn in a community, interacting, seeing each other face to face, being in the same space. I really, really hope that that's our reality. But the truth is, like Israel, I don't know how long this exile is going to last. And I don't know what it's going to look like when we finally come out of it. I don't have a good answer right now for what the resolution will be or when that resolution will come. And that's terrible. I hate that. I hate that I can't tell you, can't tell myself, can't have an answer to how this is all going to play out and when the end is going to be. Well, like I said before, not knowing those things, not having all the answers is what drives me to understand that this isn't my situation. I'm not in control. That God is the one who's got his hand on this, and he's in control. He has the answers, and he will bring me out of exile in a way that he chooses, and in a time that he chooses. That for all of us, he'll return us together in a time and place that he chooses. I wish I could say that thinking that way and just saying that makes everything all better for me, and now I feel great and I can go about my life again. But that's not the case. I'm still grieving the things that I've lost, the opportunities that we've missed this school year, not being together. I still worry. I still have great anxiety about what the beginning of next school year is going to look like. I still have sorrow about how we're going to finish this year and what that means for staff and students and seniors who are leaving our community for the last time. I don't have those answers. And even intellectually understanding God's providence doesn't resolve all of the emotional and relational conflict and sorrow that goes along with a situation like this. But I do know, and my hope lies in the fact that just like with Israel in the desert or in Babylon, that God is walking alongside me, and God is walking alongside us. And whatever that path holds, he'll be with us. Stay safe, stay sane.